talk a little bit about the upper body and the arm, how it works, what makes it work, why do we want it to work, that kind of thing. And typical of my drawings here, here's the head is going to be up here, the spine's going to come down here, and the first rib will be about here. And it's going to actually kind of keep in mind that first rib, if you're actually looking at it, is on an angle like this. I should get my skeleton out of there. Because I mean, you see that poster right there, and you realize that, of course, that the first rib is getting hidden a little bit by the spine going through the middle, the neck. What of our neck we have hidden there. Sternum is going to come down. Sternum will come down. And the rib cage, its widest point is about here. It's not quite a 5i cube wide. It's a little thinner or smaller. It's going to come in just a touch and end on here. This is our 10th rib. So the first, as I've said before, the first rib is important and the 10th rib is important. And the rib cage is some shape, something like that. And I won't bother with the individual ribs, although I'll talk about them a bit. What this is about right here is, here's the head. I'm going to talk about the front and the back here. And you're going to find that it's actually going to mimic a great deal. And I said last week that very often when I'm drawing the figure, well, I'm drawing the front and the back at both times. Because we can't necessarily see the back, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Okay, all the good stuff going on back there is still going on back there. It's just that there are elements in the way. But we have to, as artists, especially as animators, understand it in 3D. Because otherwise, once again, you're going to build it in the machine and, oh, what's going on back there? I don't know. So, once again, we can bring that 5i cubed down times 4. We'll have a shape something like this. And we can cross it. And of course that first rib is going to be more like that, not quite as big as I have it. There's its widest point. I should have drawn a little bit bigger just for visual purposes here. But this will have to do for now. And then the spine in the back is actually going to swing up through here, because our spine now is coming from the base of the skull and is going to run on down through in terms of the back. We'll see it this way. We always have the pelvis to deal with. You can find the pelvis about center point of this third square down here. Its outermost point comes to about almost to the edge. I'm drawing right now what probably may be a male skeleton. The differences often are, you can almost draw a line straight down here, and that's where a male pelvis will be. The female pelvis may be getting a little bit larger. That's one of the only telltale signs. I think I said it last week too, that the biblical thing of one less rib doesn't exist. And that's, you know, or that if you were in a party of skeletons, you wouldn't know if you were chatting up a girl or a boy skeleton. More often than not, it'd be a bit of a challenge to figure out. The pubic bone sits about dead center of this point. Let's get another one over here because I'm going to need the back. And so all the same rules apply. Pelvis in the back is going to be about here. As I said, the first rib is important because you can feel it, or it's our neck, that shape of the neck. And when I'm drawing the figure, the cylinder of the neck is essential for me. We get away from that paper cutout type figure when we understand how the neck comes out of this three-dimensional form, which is our torso. You can kind of keep that in mind, it will help you. And for me, the center of balance is something I achieved very early on in a drawing, and I use the cylinder of the neck to help me doing that. And I'll illustrate that when we actually do some drawing in a little while. The spine in the back, we have the sacrum. As I say, here's our pubic bone here in front, and we're going to end up with this It's actually a rounded shape here, and what's called the inlet. Well, the inlet's up there. This is, I'd still call the inlet on the pelvis. The ischium comes down. It doesn't quite come down to the bottom of that that point, but our ischium is here, and we can kind of draw a line. This is almost cartoon-like. It's not exact or perfect. It's just the generalities of the form. The pubic bone is in a very essential point. You feel it on all of your, it's like one of those things, if you want to understand anatomy, you start feeling things on yourself. It's an easy thing to find. You find out that certain things actually exist. Our sacrum sits in the back, comes to about dead center of that point. And of course, that's 5 or so vertebrae all fused together into a plate. For the most part, it creates a triangular shape. And then those 3 little last vertebrae in the back are what's left of our little tail. I said that last week too. So we'll say things over and over again on a regular basis just because there's certain things just need to be repeated. Pelvis, once again, is going to come out to about here. Ischium to here. So you'll see that the shapes are going to mimic each other. Okay. Basic form of the pelvis. The leg, what we have is, right on this line, we have acetarpulin, which is the disc, or the socket, I should say, for the humerus bone. It's called the acetarpulin. Not that that'll be on the test, but it's fun to have it in the back of your head. You might be at a party someplace and you'll want to give these people with some information and tell them that, by the way, you know where your acetarpulin is? And then you'll be able to tell them. The neck of the great trochanter is here, and we'll have our leg. The beginning of our leg is going to be like that. And I need that there for a specific reason I'll show you in a minute. Some of the muscles that are important. The arm. Okay, we have the clavicle in the front, which is a round shape. At this point, it articulates from the top of the sternum and comes out to the right and left. It's a curved bone, and it curves back, as you can feel it. It curves back to the shoulder. And the shoulder girdle itself, it's referred to. What we'll have in the back is the end of the clavicle, and we have the glenoid cavity. And the outer wing of the scapula, this I really need. Can I, Will, behind you is a chunk of the skeleton. Could I have it?